What's up, guys? Jay Lee here, Northwest Podcast. Kind of not in a great mood, but I really wanted to make this one because I felt like I had something to say today. Sucks when I'm not in a good... I got to be in the right mood sometimes to make these. I was a little bit happy for a second, which is not the right mood to make this. I don't want to be happy when I make this particular style of video. But then I got mad again. But not the righteous anger kind of mad, more of a sad mad. So, God, I'm all moody today. I'm all beta. I'm all feminine right now. Feeling beta, feminine, and moody, which is hard to make these kind of videos when I'm feeling like that. Anyway, I'm definitely not gonna start talking about why I'm feeling that way, because you don't care and it doesn't matter, and it would just take away from this video. But anyway, with that said, really no reason for me to even say that, but I said that, fuck it, I don't know why I said that, but here in Seattle, right, we got a little bit of rain. We're gonna have one of our good summers. I've talked about this before, how we have these great summers. I know we're gonna have one of these good summers, even though it's totally overcast. It's just what it does in Seattle in the springtime, moving into summer, is we'll have like a month where there's just great weather in like April, and then May comes, and like the whole month of May it'll just be overcast and rainy, almost like it's February or something, or March. But is that a cop coming towards me? No, it's a cop behind me, I think. Looks like a cop up here. But anyway, we'll have these months that are just so gorgeous, and then we'll have months that are just like, what the fuck? But I'm pretty sure it's going to be a great summer here, because I've experienced these summers before. So with that said, I want to sort of drive you guys around my neighborhoods. And look at this nice couple here. She probably fulfilled her hypergamy with him, huh? This is what women want. They want their hero. They want their prize, right? They want their leading man. They want their winner. They wait around at the finish line, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. So I want to talk about Richard Cooper. And I've blasted Rich before. Not that it matters. He'll never see my shit because my channel's so small and weak. But I believe I still have some good points there. And just in the same vein that I've blasted Rollo Tomassi and Donovan Sharp, although I have much more respect for Mr. Rollo Tomassi and Mr. Donovan Sharp than I do for Richard Cooper. I've been watching more of Rollo Tomassi's stuff, and I will say that he is a real solid pillar in our red pill community. I will say that he is really doing a lot, and really I mean, he's a book of knowledge, and he's great. And I didn't know he was married. I guess he's been married for, I think he said 23 years or something insane. And I was like, man, you wrote 4 books or 3 books about the red pill while you were married, and this is the guy who brought the concept of hypergamy to the world, or at least he popularized it. I'm sure it was around. Now, I've criticized him for being, somewhat of a profiteer in the past, particularly when it comes to red pill ideology. And I believe, to some extent, hey, like, he's doing a great thing. He's got a platform. He's gained followers. He's gained popularity to a good extent. Hey, you earned it, man. On the other hand, like, I don't know. I don't think we should treat him like he's God. I don't think he invented the term hypergamy. I don't think he invented these concepts. These are old concepts. It's just now we have a culture, and we've got a different culture in general, and a different society in general in America. And now we have a culture of red pillism. I'm going to go back and look at that neighborhood back there. So what I really want to do is show you guys these beautiful neighborhoods. It's almost like Georgia here or something. Like, not that I know a whole lot about states or topography, but I'm into that kind of shit. I like houses. I've always loved houses. I've always wanted a house, which is going to be what I'm going to talk about today, partially. I love neighborhoods. I love houses. I like family. And see, that's what people probably, particularly the people I argue with online are the feminists and the mad, SJW women that I trigger online. They think I'm some kind of hater. They think that I'm some kind of I'm so dysfunctional that I hate anything and everything that has to do with women. And that's not true. I love houses. I love families and things like that. I just don't like the concept of hypergamy. I don't like the concept of women only settling down with a winner. Now, we can't all have houses. We can't all live in these beautiful neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Men are not all successful. I'm not a successful male. I'm just not. And I've come to terms with that in my life. But it's part of what really keyed me into the red pill. It's part of what really keyed me into learning these truths about female nature. And I learned the hard way, man. I took my lumps the hard way. I didn't graduate college. I struggled. I had an illness, right? And because of that, women looked at me in a different light. Women treated me different. Women weren't as attracted to me. I remember in high school, I was on the basketball team. I started out on JV and went up to varsity my junior year. I was pretty good. I wasn't great. I was good enough to obviously make the varsity team junior year, which is not bad. A lot of guys, a lot of kids in high school, they play JV their junior year, and they only go up to varsity their senior year. They're not quite as good as the other guys. Well, I was able to go up to varsity my junior year, and I think I was getting in a position to really do pretty well my senior year, but I messed up. My senior year. I got in with some kids who were really into drugs. I took some drugs and I messed up, and I did some stupid things, which I'm not going to talk about those things, but I did some stupid things which caused me to get into some trouble, and I had to leave my area. I had to leave my city for a different city. It's not too crazy. It's not, I didn't kill anyone or anything like that, but I got into some bad shit with some kids, and had to do with drugs and things like that, and I had to leave because I pissed off the wrong people and things like that, and so I fucked up. But I was in position to go to college, and that was the plan, to be on the basketball squad in college. I had a couple colleges recruiting me. One was San Jose State in California. The other one was Portland State University in Oregon, which is pretty good. I wasn't amazing. I was good enough to get letters. I was good enough to get letters of interest from these colleges, but I don't think I was good enough to really go to a D1 unit. I think these guys are D2. Yeah, those colleges are D2, which is Division II, which is a little bit lower class than D1 in college. So D1 is the elite, big schools, the big universities. Division II is smaller schools, not quite as elite, just not quite in the same class as Division I, but still good, right? So I had potential to get a scholarship to college, and women saw that in me. Young girls in high school saw that in me. They saw that I was popular. They saw that I was a tall guy, in shape, on the basketball team. I lettered my junior year, meaning I played varsity, and when you play varsity, you get a letter, right? It's the letter of the first name of your it's the first letter of the name of your high school, right? My high school was called Rogers High School, so it was an R. I actually didn't ever get my Letterman jacket. You're supposed to show it off on your Letterman's jacket. I never quite got my Letterman's jacket. If I would have continued on in my senior year, I would have got my Letterman's jacket, but I didn't. And what that means is when you go to class with your Letterman jacket on, that's status. So if I would have done that, girls would have been all over me. But girls found out that they knew I was on the basketball team. They would go to games and things like that. So I had girls giving me a lot of interest, and I didn't realize that I didn't know anything about the red pill during that time. I didn't know it was all about status, right? But then after I graduated and I didn't go to college because I messed up. I messed up. So I had to move cities. I didn't make the basketball team in my new city because I had bad grades, because I couldn't adjust. It was too weird. Like, it was a totally different environment, totally different school, things like that. So I couldn't really adjust, as my window gets all fogged up here. And so my grades weren't good. So I couldn't make it, right? And because of that, I was just a nobody. So I went from being a somebody at my old high school to being a nobody at my new high school. And that was hard. And that was kind of my first introduction to real life. That was my first introduction to hypergamy, to how women treat men with status, right? And this is what we all do. This is why men want to be successful. This is why we have this drive in us to be successful, because women will choose us if we're successful. Women will, choose us. And you can watch Jordan Peterson. He talks a bit about this, where he talks about having a lot of women interested in you, but only choosing one woman, which is his ideal. And Jordan Peterson's a very idealistic guy. And I talk about him too in different podcasts, where I'm sort of talking about his kind of how he's just always idealistic and shit. Yeah, my windows are foggy. At least right there they are. So I'm back here in these neighborhoods, and these are gorgeous neighborhoods, man. And like I said, I'm a guy who really likes beautiful things. I'm an art guy. I'm a photographer. That's kind of been my pet business that I've been working on for the past 5 or so years. I'm really into like art and topography and stuff like that. And I really like neighborhoods. I grew up in a city where they had real cool neighborhoods. And of course, there's always fuckers following me right on my ass, always in Seattle. Seattle drivers are the biggest assholes, and they don't even need to be. It's not really that congested here. It's not like it's LA or something, but they're just assholes. Anyway, they're always riding your ass. Okay, so this is a gorgeous neighborhood, man. Like, this neighborhood, like, it's funny, but people try to say that, like, oh, Seattle is hood, and like, there's really no hood in Seattle. I mean, a couple areas, I guess, are like pretty dodgy. A couple areas are pretty, but this is beautiful, man. Like, as far as houses are concerned, this is gorgeous. But I was driving here about an hour ago, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to make a video, and the video that I wanted to make really had to do. And this is why I'm going to title this video. I'm going to title it No Money, No Honey, No House, No Wife. And so for me, I get mixed sentiments when I'm driving in neighborhoods like this. Like I said, I've always wanted, like, I would love this house right here or right here. I would love these houses. I would love to own one of these houses. So beautiful, right? It's always been my dream to have a family, have a nice house. But when I graduated high school, I got sick, right? So I took these drugs, I did these drugs, and I got in with these drug kids. And my brothers were like, nah, you're fucking up. We need to come get you. You're gonna get yourself in a lot of trouble. And I was heading down that path, and some of my friends did get arrested for drugs and selling drugs, and they had guns. And this was back in like 2001, I believe. So I I was supposed to graduate in 2002, but I didn't actually graduate till 2003 because I had a breakdown at this new school that I was at, and I was out of it for a year. But in 2001, these kids were out trying to sell drugs, had guns, and my brothers were like, nah, we're gonna come get you. You're fucking up. And I was fucking up. And it was good that they came and got me, because I definitely was headed to jail for sure. So that happened, and I got sick, and I was like, I can't work. I can't go to college. That was my dream. I'm gonna go to, and this is when I'm 19, 18, right? I wanna go to college. I wanna graduate college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I know is I wanted to go to college and play basketball. I didn't know what degree I wanted to get. Later on, I figured out I wanted to do business. Later on, I figured out I really liked multimedia, which is like videography, photography. So I wanted to do like a joint thing where I got a degree in business, and then I minored or whatever, or maybe even got my master's or something in, or just got dual degrees in business and photography, that kind of thing. So like that's been my goal, but because I've been sick, I haven't been able to do it, right? But this is way later. Like I spent my whole 20s being sick. I'm in my mid 30s now, but I spent my whole 20s being sick and not knowing what to do, being poor, you know, not knowing how to survive, being scared because I didn't know what was wrong with me. I figured out later that I just had depression and I had insomnia. I was diagnosed in like 2007 or 2009, I forget, with borderline bipolar disorder. And then I was diagnosed in 2015, I think, with a sleeping disorder called non-24, which is basically when your circadian rhythms aren't functioning correctly, and you basically don't get tired at night, and your sleep wake cycle is all fucked up. So this is something that I've been suffering from. My point by saying all that is I realized that it wasn't gonna work out for me in life and with women when all this happened. And the reason why was because I couldn't provide. I couldn't do one of these houses, and they're so beautiful and I love them, and this is what I want. It's what I've always wanted. I've always wanted to have one of these houses, and I was so depressed and sad for so long because I couldn't do this. And this is normal, right? People live in these houses. They do something. They got good jobs, and these houses are all over. They're all over Seattle. So these people are obviously doing something, and I could never figure it out. My parents were dysfunctional. My dad was a manual labor, blue collar worker, right? He worked hard, and we had a couple houses in my life, but we lived in apartments too, and we were always poor. And so I didn't really have a great example of how to be a man, and I never really learned how to work to where I could figure out how to get one of these houses. I never could figure it out. What do I do? Do I become a UPS driver? Like, do I do what this guy's doing? Like, I don't know. I never knew. My dad didn't teach me these things. He left when I was 12. I still don't really know. It's a big question mark. I don't understand it. Should I go and knock on these people's doors and ask them what I should do? How do I do it? I mean, my brother's a fucking loan officer, but he won't even tell me what to do. The only thing I know is from Google, when they say you're supposed to make like 3 times as much as your mortgage is. Well, how the fuck do I do that? How do I get a low mortgage? Or how do I didn't even graduate college, right? I graduated high school a year late because I fucked around and took drugs and had a nervous breakdown, right? So all I know is I was doing real good, had pretty good grades. I think I had about a 2.6. I got a high IQ. My IQ is 115. I got tested in high school and it was 115. Maybe it's more now. I don't know. Does your IQ grow? I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of dumb too. Maybe it was just a fluke thing that it was so high. Maybe I got lucky on the test. I don't fucking know, right? You know, they don't teach you how to find a quality job. The only thing I know about getting a job is like going down to the unemployment office or going down to like WorkSource or something. And I remember doing that a few times in my early 20s, and they gave me jobs like picking weeds, right? And like fucking digging ditches and digging dirt for like some company, some construction company. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing, man? I'm a smart guy. You know, I was going to go to college. I was going to be on the basketball team. Like, what the fuck am I doing at WorkSource? And they're giving me manual labor jobs, and I'm working alongside Mexicans who didn't even graduate kindergarten, who didn't go to school one day in their life. And I'm not, you know, not to say anything bad about Mexicans. They're hard workers, they're good family people, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, these guys are new to our country and they're getting the same job as me, and I got a high school diploma. Like, what the fuck are you doing, WorkSource? I don't know. Maybe I put down the wrong things on the application. I don't know. All I know is that me and work don't go together. Me and making money don't go together. I am not good at making money, right? And I learned early on in my 20s that that's why you're single, bro. That's why you're not succeeding with the ladies. And it was a bad introduction to hypergamy, because I'm like, oh shit, here I am in high school, all the girls want me, I'm popular, right? I'm on the basketball team, I'm varsity, got a lot of friends, a lot of people like me, always going to parties, always hanging out with the basketball team guys, cool, right? Up until that all falls apart, up until you know, I take drugs and get in with the wrong people, and I gotta leave the city. Then all of a sudden I'm Joe Nobody in a new city, didn't make the basketball team. Actually, the coach was gonna put me on the basketball team. He thought I was good enough to play on his team, but I didn't have good grades because I was out of it. Because I was like, what the fuck? Like I don't wanna go to class. I didn't wanna go to class. You know, I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't know anybody. It was weird. It was I felt ostracized. I was in a new environment. I had culture shock because the city I lived in before was a little bit of a poorer city. It was lower middle class. This was upper middle class and high class city that I lived in, albeit I lived in an apartment with my brother, but we were still, the area was very high class. The median income for Seattle is like, I think, $75,000. Might even be higher in the area that I lived at the time. The city that I came from before, the median income was $34,000, I believe, or $32,000, I believe. So just above the poverty line, because I think poverty line now is $30,000 and below, if I'm not mistaken. I think the real poverty line is like obviously 20,000, but I think I read somewhere that they're starting to make it 30,000 is like just at the cusp of the poverty line. They consider somebody who makes below 30,000 technically in poverty, which is crazy, right? That's insane. This house is beautiful right here. Got this gorgeous picket fence. Ironically, I don't know if I want to talk about my ex, but she's gonna get married to a guy who has a house and a nice little picket fence like that. Nice little white picket fence, nice little cute little white house. And she dumped me to go find that. So she got what she wanted. There's no poetic justice here. There's no karma. Karma doesn't exist. I stopped believing in karma a long time ago. I stopped believing in karma when one of my first girlfriends fucked me over and totally got away with it. Screwed me over in the worst way. Screwed her best friend over. Her best friend was married to this guy, and she had another friend that I have no idea why, but she got that other, because this guy wasn't even that good looking. She got her other friend to sleep with this guy who was married to her best friend. So basically, she got her best friend's husband to commit adultery with one of her other friends, and she hooked it all up. It sounds crazy, but it's true. She hooked it all up. Crazy. I don't even know why, right? And this girl, she was the one. Anyway, I made a video about it, but you probably didn't see it. But she lied. Her name was Jessie, short for Jessica. Jessie, right? And she's a little rich girl, but she smoked weed all day, every day. She just blew her parents' money on weed. Let's see. Yeah, her name. She fucked me over. She lied and said she was pregnant with my kid. And she lied. She wasn't pregnant with my kid. She didn't have my kid. She did it so I wouldn't break up with her. That was one of my harshest ones, because that hurt like a motherfucker, because there was all kinds of bullshit that happened after that and with that, and she didn't get away with it. She eventually dumped me after I started to like her for some reason. You know, I guess, you know, her lying and saying she had my number. She knew exactly what was going to trip me out, and that's what tripped me out, was the fact that she lied and said she was going to have my baby. I was going to be a father. And then she was talking about aborting it, which is how I learned that women have 100% say over the life of the child, which was horrible to me at the time, because I was like, you're gonna kill my kid? Maybe? What the fuck? Right? But I know karma doesn't exist because she's fine. She lost weight since we dated. She moved to like Colorado and she's a rock climber now. She's happy as fuck. I went to her Facebook and saw her posts and she's happy as shit. And she was a horrible person. Big slut. Horrible, shitty person. Fucked me over in the worst ways. Cheated on me. All kinds of shit. Shit that I can't even talk about. And she's happy as fuck, right? Now my ex also cheated on me. The one that's gonna marry this guy also cheated on me. Monkey branched from me onto this other guy because he had a house. Came back to me for 5 months and cheated on him behind his back while she was living with him. Was gonna move out to be with me, but decided because I didn't make enough money, because I'm not like him and I can't afford a mortgage and a house, she decided to stay with him, basically. So she cheated on the guy for 5 months, decides that we were about 90% there. I was in talks with an apartment complex. We were gonna get her into a 2-bedroom apartment for her and her kid. I know I'm stupid. She had a kid. I know, single moms, and that's why I don't fuck with single moms. Single moms are worse. They're looking for a guy with money. They're looking for the guy to raise their kids. I learned this the hard way. All the shit that I talk about, I learned it the hard way. That's how I know it's the truth. That's why any feminist or hoo-ha who wants to come on my channel and say, oh, you disrespect women, you're a hater, woo, you're a misogynist, woo. Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because I've had all kinds of experiences to back up everything that I talk about, period. So I wonder, man, does karma exist? I don't know, man. I really don't know. I question even if God exists for a long time because of all the ways I was fucked over. Yeah, he's got a little nice house just like that with a nice fence, nice picket fence, and she's gonna marry him in September. They got engaged. And imagine how I felt through that whole process of her cheating on him, dumping me for him, living with him and cheating on him while she was living with him. And guess what? I told him that it happened too. I told him, I sent him messages. I got his number. I found his number, found out his name, found his number, sent him messages on Facebook. He and she eventually deleted their Facebook accounts, deleted their Facebook profiles, because they knew they were wrong and they knew they were going to get exposed, right? Sent him, and some people will have a problem with that. Some people, will be mad at me for that. Well, that's none of your business. Bullshit, it ain't none of my business. She was cheating on him with me, told me she was gonna move out, and decided to stay with him. I mean, come the fuck on. And there was no poetic justice for me. There was no happy ending, no karma, like in the movies. None of that shit happened. What happened is she's happy as fuck. And she gets to marry the dude, and he totally forgave her for cheating on her for 5 months. I don't even know if he believed me. I showed him text messages from her. What I really think is he's just so beta that he didn't have any other choice. He's so desperate and in such a scarcity mindset. This house is beautiful right here. He's in such a scarcity mindset. I like this right here. Ooh, that's nice. I like that porch. That's a gorgeous porch. Gorgeous tree. Oh, I love that house. Right? See, I've always wanted a family. So people who think that like, oh, I just hate women, whatever. That's not the issue. It's not women. It's hypergamy. It's if you don't have one of these fucking things, if you don't have one of these houses, you don't get the woman. Period. And that girl who was rich, whose parents totally could have taken care of us. Her dad had a multi-million-dollar interior design company. They totally, her parents, her mom is a successful real estate agent. They pay her rent. She has enough money that she can buy $100 worth of weed every day. I know because I dated her for a year and a half, and we were high all the time because she constantly would spend so much money on high quality weed in Seattle. And Seattle's got good weed because they're one of the first places to legalize it, Washington. Her parents totally could have taken care of. That's a cute little park. Totally could have taken care of us, but no. Not to say that I would want to shirk my responsibility as a male. I never did want to shirk. I never am lazy. I was always ambitious. I got sick, and she never cared that I was sick. All she ever said was like, well, how come you don't make any money? What are we gonna do? How are we gonna have a life together? Woo, woo, woo. And it's like, first of all, sweetie, your parents are paying your rent. First of all, you work part-time at a coffee shop. Your parents are paying your rent, and they're giving you enough money where you can buy copious amounts of weed to smoke all day, every day, first of all. All right. Second of all, if you really loved me, you'd stick with me through the hard times. And this is where I want to talk about Richard Cooper. Because Richard Cooper, this is one of his big things that he says, is that women like to wait around at the finish line. I agree, Rich. They do. They do. You're right. But what you're doing is you're taking red pill ideology and you're putting it in a blender and you're serving it up to guys with insecurities. You're serving it up to males who are vulnerable because we are disposable. We live in a society that treats males as if they're disposable. All right? And so you see an opportunity to make some dollars in that. What I see is a broken system. What I see is an unfortunate society. Now, if we're driving down this neighborhood, I don't see anything broken, right? Nothing broken here. Why is that? Because everything's good, because the man makes the money, right? So it's all good. So women are in pocket. Women are in check. I wouldn't say in check, but I would say in pocket. Women are in pocket because the guy makes the money because he's got this nice little blue house here. Cute little house, right? It's all good when the guy pays a mortgage. It's all good. No problem. She'll marry you. She'll have your kids. She'll cook your food as long as you put money on the table. Now people will say, well, that's what a man's supposed to do. Okay, but what if you can't do that? What if you can't do that? What if you're like me and you get sick and you lose your status and you lose your popularity and women don't barely even know you exist? Then what? Then what are you gonna do? You're gonna be like me and you're gonna be fucking out of luck. And you're gonna be, for a long time I hated women, right? I hated women. And now it's not, I don't hate women per se. I hate hypergamy. I hate female nature. That's fundamentally leeching off of men, and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know if we're ever going to remedy that. I don't know if that's something that can ever be fixed. I don't know if a woman will ever really love me for who I am. People say that. There's always the woman who comes out of the woodwork to say, hey, I love my husband and he was a bum, homeless when I met him, and we lived in his car for 5 years until I got a good job and I could take care of him, and I'd take care of him for 10 years. And I was like, you are a fucking unicorn, and that's an anomaly. But there's always one or two that comes out of the woodwork. I've met them over the years, but a lot of them, they say my ex is usually what they say. My ex didn't work and I still date him, and then you really get to the core of what they're saying and you're like, well, are you still with the guy? And they're like, no, he was a bum, he was a jerk. And it's like, yeah, there you go. So that's the real truth. The real truth is that you dumped him because he wasn't doing shit in life, right? So this is man's value.